Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into an exciting series that takes us on an incredible journey aboard a spaceship. If you love thrilling adventures and intriguing mysteries, you're in for a treat. In this video, we'll be recapping the first 2 episodes. So let's get started with episode 1. In the distant future, a spaceship called Ark-1 has a big problem. Something bad happens, so the rest of the crew has to wake up a whole year early before they reach their new home, Proxima B. They don't have their leaders with them, and they're short on supplies. The crew needs to stay together to stay on track and survive. In deep space, a spaceship with sleeping pods starts shaking. A big metal piece falls and hits a sleeping pod, making Lieutenant Sharon Garnet wake up suddenly. She notices a large hole in the spaceship and rushes to put on her special protective suit. After that, she wakes up all the other crew members. Sharon finds Lieutenant Spencer Lane and explains the situation to him. Together, they swiftly help everyone leave the risky place, making sure they all wear their safety gear like suits and helmets. At the same moment, another large chunk of metal hits Commander Susan Ingram's pod, pinning her inside. Baylor Trent lifts the heavy object out of the pod, but Sharon saves him from injury and making sure he wears his helmet and running to safety. Suddenly the ceiling falls apart, and everyone begins to float because gravity has vanished. Sharon struggles to secure the sleeper pod bay because of something blocking the ship's outside wheel. After a lot of hard work, Sharon frees the wheel, and the wheel begins to move, restoring gravity to the ship. She quickly restores the life support system on the ship, so everyone can breathe without their helmets. Now that gravity has returned, Sharon and Spencer rush to inform their leaders of the situation, only to find that their area has been completely destroyed. In the medical bay, Dr. Sanjeevni Kabir tends to the crew, urging them to ignore any rumors circulating about the accident. She aids Angus Medford, who prematurely removes his suit, resulting in his cryostasis-weakened muscles preventing him from walking properly. Amid the chaos on the spaceship, when Sharon walks into the medical bay, she sees Lieutenant James Bryce in the ice bath. Acting urgently, she notifies him of the necessity to help her manage the bridge. As they make their way to the command center, James proposes seeking guidance from one of the commanders, but Sharon's grim disclosure shatters that hope. They've all passed away. In another part of the ship, Eva diligently focuses on charging the crew's helmets, while she asks Jasper Dades to handle refilling the tanks. However, Jasper declines, saying it's not his job, which causes tension. Suddenly, Harris sneaks in, and Eva quickly shuts the door to avoid being seen. Aware of the ship's rule against couples, their intimate moment is interrupted by an order to gather in the mess hall. Meanwhile, Angus makes his way to the hall and sits next to Alicia Nevins, who specializes in West management. As they chat, Angus mentions his background in gardening, sparking Alicia's memory of him as the person who grew plants in the Mojave Desert. The 3 lieutenants announce that it will take another year to get to Proxima B, and the entire crew goes into a state of shock. Sharon gathers everyone and informs them about the unknown impact on the ship. Spencer adds that their sleeping quarters are damaged, they've lost supplies, and water is scarce. Sharon suggests using the water machine differently, and emphasizes the need for caution in consumption. She reveals the shortage of food, with only enough for 6 weeks. Furthermore, Sharon discloses the death of all commanders, leaving only the 3 lieutenants. Despite some skepticism from the others, Sharon insists that she is the leader because she knows the ship better than everyone. Though Spencer appears uneasy, Sharon addresses the group, reminding them of their role in saving humanity and urging them to remain resilient. The following day, they hold a somber ceremony to honor their fallen commanders. Baylor is approached about his relationship with Commander Susan, which deeply upsets him. While James commends Sharon for her motivating speech the previous night, he expresses discomfort with her self-declaration as the leader. Sharon justifies her decision, stating that someone had to take charge in the absence of others stepping up. Angus catches up with Sharon and invites her to follow him. After the funeral, the crew convenes in the mess hall for breakfast. Jasper informs them that they'll receive only 2 500-calorie meals per day to conserve food. In the meantime, Angus takes Sharon to a storage area and shows her a container filled with fertile ground he brought with him from Earth. He wants to grow crops, but needs electricity to power his LED lights. Meanwhile, Kat slips into the women's changing room to shower, only to be caught by security guard Felix. Kat attempts to explain her situation to him, but he doesn't budge, simply handing her a towel. Later, Alice rushes to the storage area, where Angus is busy setting up his plant setup. He notices Alice's waste management skills and asks for her assistance with the plant food. Baylor is watching a family video when Spencer cuts him off. He asks if he has any reservations about joining the mission. "No," says Baylor. "I'm committed, especially to the people who depend on us back home." The lights suddenly go out, and one of the crew tells Spencer that Sharon has redirected power to their plant setup, leaving him frustrated. Back in the storage area, the lights are turned on, and the farming activities begin. At this point, Spencer walks into the room, and rebukes Sharon for initiating the biofarm project without consulting the other two lieutenants. Sharon pleads guilty and reproach him for discussing the project in front of them. Later, the two lieutenants, together with Dr. Kabir, Felix and Ava, and ex-counsel James, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of farming. James supports the idea of farming as it could help solve the food issue, but Spencer believes it is a waste of resources and that it is risky. Sharon argues that all decisions are risky and that they have to make tough decisions in order to survive. After this discussion, Sharon returns to the storage area to encourage Angus to continue the work on the biofarm. Meanwhile, Eva heads to the engineering unit where she meets Harris. She informs him that it is imperative to repair the water recycling unit as soon as possible. When the lights return, Eva orders the team to collect the necessary components to repair the unit. In the medical bay, Dr. Kabir goes to check on Dr. Baylor, who admits that he is having difficulty breathing. The ship's alarm goes off, alerting Dr. Kabir that there is a lack of oxygen on board. Dr. Kabir quickly puts on Baylor's oxygen mask and rushes to retrieve their helmets. The crew members all put on their suits as they search for their helmets. Eva and her engineering team are separated by a closed door, just as Dr. Kabir and Dr. James are separated on the bridge. James informs Sharon that the ship's lockdown protocol is in place due to a lack of oxygen. James informs the crew that diagnostic systems are malfunctioning and instructs them to locate the Chief of Life Support. Spencer departs with a crew member to investigate the problem, and Sharon finds the Life Support Chief, Jasper Dades. Sharon immediately calls Jasper and tells him about the problem. When Jasper hears Sharon's message, he goes into hiding and keeps an eye on Spencer and the rest of the crew searching for the problem. Baylor has trouble breathing in the medical bay but finds oxygen tanks. Eva notices that their helmets have a low oxygen level on one side, but hers is fine. Eva tells Harris to get the door open immediately. Jasper tries to escape, colliding with Felix, who is looking for him as well. Harris notices an engineering crew member fainting and removes his helmet to aid him. He informs Ava that he is going to be fine, but she orders him to save air. Ava requests help from the bridge, but James informs Sharon that they cannot open the door without access to life support system. Finally, Felix leads Jasper to the bridge. Jasper pretends to wear a helmet that does not work, so he does not have to obey orders. They give him a new helmet. He tries to flee, but Felix grabs him and forces him to repair the system. Baylor changes the lock on the door to the medical bay so that more people can enter and help. In the corridor, Baylor discreetly places some of the tanks into a chute before meeting up with Dr. Kabir and joining forces with her to save the engineering team. Meanwhile, Jasper shocks the crew by revealing that he is in fact Malcolm Perry, not Jasper Dades. James is infuriated and orders Felix to lock him up, while Sharon tells James to look for someone with more advanced coding skills to handle the problem. On the art deck, Harris expresses his love for Ava before passing out. Luckily, Dr. Kabir and her team arrive, giving them oxygen masks and emergency medical care. Later, Ensign brought 3 crew members to the bridge, including Alice. Alice realized the diagnostics were stuck in a Barstow loop and quickly fixed the problem. Sharon then asked Spencer to go out and close the breach, which they quickly did. Sharon rejoices that they've solved the oxygen crisis. In the medical bay, Dr. Kabir attempts to resuscitate Harris, but unfortunately, he does not survive. Dr. Kabir offers her condolences to Eva. She leaves the medical bay with a feeling of sadness. Dr. Kabir then notices Baylor and thanks him for his help. Back on the bridge, Sharon praises Alice for her skillful management of the crisis. James then promotes Alice to the role of Chief of Life Support. Later, Felix leads Sharon to the storage room where Malcolm is being held. Malcolm confesses to having engineered his own arrival on the first ship and explains what he did about the original Jasper Dades. Sharon informs him of the Council's likely decision, which leans towards the death penalty. Shocked, Malcolm reveals that there are other stowaways on board. As Sharon is about to leave, Malcolm pulls her aside to remind her of a meeting he had with a cadet named Denise at a Jacksonville pub. He also mentions a tragic event that has affected Sharon deeply. The council convenes to decide on Malcolm's fate, with Dr. Kabir arguing for his rights to defend himself. The council votes in favor of the death penalty, but Felix finds out that Malcolm is murdered. Sharon goes to her room to contemplate Malcolm's revelation, and with this episode 1 comes to an end. In the beginning of episode 2, the following day, both Spencer and James venture out to survey the damage to Ark 1 in an attempt to determine the cause of the incident. Sharon notices a break in the external wheel structure and urges them to return. Unfortunately, debris collides with them, causing Spencer to lose consciousness and Sholnick to pass away. James then brings Spencer back to the ship, where Dr. Kabir attempts to resuscitate him. A devastated James confesses to Sharon that he couldn't fulfill his promise to keep Sholnick alive for his wife. In the medical bay, while Dr. Kabir is treating Spencer for a concussion, Alicia arrives for a post-cryophysical exam. One of the crew members, who had been waiting for hours among other patients, asks why Alicia needs an examination when she appears to be in good health. The crew member also complains about the promotion of Alicia and mentions a rumor that she killed Jasper in order to take over his job. Dr. Kabir dismisses the crew member and tells them to sit down. At this point, Dr. Kabir is interrupted by Alice, who tells him about the attack on the ship, and Dr. Kabir gets angry and tells Alice to shut up and leaves the room. Kabir confides to Spencer that she hasn't been able to sleep since they came out of hibernation, as she's the only doctor on the team, and Spencer says she should go to get some rest, until I'm here to get the medbay ready. Later, James catches up with Spencer as they discuss the improved structure's stability and think about Sholnick's death. Spencer worries that more rumors will spread after Sholnick's death and insists they must tell the crew the truth, but James believes they're just as uninformed. Later, Alice meets with Baylor, thanking him for getting her old job back. She offers to show him the waste facility, but then quickly leaves, feeling frustrated. The following day, the crew gathers for a memorial service to remember the crew members who died in the oxygen crisis and to honor them. Eva remembers her last moments with Harris and expresses her contempt for Malcolm's dead body, which Kat witnesses. Angus intervenes before the bodies can be thrown into space, and he proposes to the council that the human remains be used as fertilizer. However, Spencer strongly objects and orders that the bodies be thrown out. But Alicia steps in, making Spencer wonder why she's taking charge. Sharon tells them that James promoted Alicia after the crisis, saying it's important to make decisions together. Spencer feels frustrated again and storms off. While everyone else leaves, the 3 lieutenants stay behind. Sharon explains they need to fix the engines, and there's a murderer among them. They still don't know what damaged their ship. Feeling overwhelmed, Spencer leaves the room, followed by James, who agrees with Sharon about finding out what happened. However, Spencer is suspicious of Sharon because she never trained with them and joined the crew just 3 days before their journey started. 5 years ago, Lieutenant Commander Susan Ingram introduced them to a hologram of William Trust, who designed the Spaceship and the ARC program. James talks about Trust's untrustworthy behavior and how he was fired from his own company. Despite Spencer and Baylor agreeing, Commander Leslie interrupts and says they're leaving as Earth burns in the background. Later, Kat, ARC-1's dearly beloved face, tells the press that, "I will continue to tell the story of my journey until I enter stasis, and I will continue to captivate audiences with my ongoing experiences." Leslie and Susan meet Spencer and Baylor, and Leslie introduces them to Sharon. After Leslie and Sharon depart, Susan and Baylor share a brief embrace. Spencer asks Susan why Sharon suddenly joined their team, and Susan says it was a decision by higher-ups. In the present time, James concurs with Spencer, and they decide to retire to their room. However, when they arrive, they quarrel over who should sleep in the sleeping quarters, as there are only 2, and Sharon has already claimed one. Later, Felix catches Sharon trying to access the storage closet, where Malcolm was killed, and Sharon tells him that the entrance logs have been erased so they can't find out who killed him. Felix, an investigating officer, reminds her that anybody could be a suspect, and that anyone could have done this, and Sharon feels accused of something. When asked who cleared the logs from the security pad, she tells that may be James, Spencer, or Eva. In the storage area, Angus notices a burst pipe and struggles to fix it in time. He informs Sharon about the significant water loss, and mentions his unsuccessful search for Eva to help with the recovery efforts. Sharon heads to the crew sleeping quarters and finds Eva in bed, crying. She also sees Kat and asks for her help in comforting Eva. Kat talks to Eva, offering her support and helping her cope with her emotions. At the bridge, James and Spencer are trying to reconstruct the events leading up to the incident that interrupted their hibernation. When they realize that the cameras were off at the time of the incident, Felix interjects, asking Spencer where he was at the time of Malcolm's murder. Spencer storms out of the questioning, claiming that he doesn't have the right to question him and leaving the room. Back at the storage facility, Alice helps Angus fix the water problem when they come across a knife. Angus realizes that the knife could have been used to kill Malcolm. They think that the knife may have been hidden inside the water tank where it got stuck in the pipes. Following, Eva re-engages with her crew, guiding them in the task of reclaiming the water. Sasha suggests Ava takes a break to mourn, yet Ava stands firm, asserting her unique qualification to lead them through the crisis. Meanwhile, at the bridge, James and Spencer notify Sharon of their intention to conduct another survey outside the ship. Sharon advises them to delegate the task to someone else, stressing its significance and the associated risks. However, they brush off her concerns. In a separate encounter, Angus confers with Felix in the mess hall regarding the knife. Felix confirms its identity as the murder weapon, but their discussion is interrupted by a crew member attempting to pilfer water rations. Felix steps in, resulting in a confrontation. Sharon arrives to assist Felix in quelling the altercation. Subsequently, the three lieutenants deliberate on how to manage the situation without a brig to contain the troublemakers. Sharon underscores that the crew's heightened tensions, stemming from sleep deprivation, hunger, and thirst, indicate deeper underlying issues that require attention. She moves on to the sleeping quarters, where she finds Kat, whom she names as the leader of shipwide mental health. She orders Kat to lead therapy sessions for those who need it, but Kat objects, saying she is not qualified. Sharon tells her that if she does not accept the role, she will be transferred to waste management. Meanwhile, James surveys the ship from the outside, while Spencer watches from inside. He notices an unusual melting around the breach and finds what appears to be diamond-like substances inside. When he tries to get a piece out, it melts right through his gloves, leaving his fingers exposed to the vacuum. James ducks inside, and Spencer readjusts cabin pressure. They hurry to the medical bay, where Dr. Kabir treats James' frostbitten fingers and assures him that his skin is going to heal. At the medical bay, Sharon joins them and starts a conversation about the crew's increased stress levels caused by sleep deprivation. She suggests a system of alternating sleep shifts and informs the crew that sleep shifts will now be mandatory. Meanwhile, at the water storage place, Eva tells all the engineers to keep working without stopping. Later, James and Spencer go back to their room and see Kat decorating it. They're not happy because Sharon gave their room to Kat for therapy. James asks Yellen if he can sleep next to her, promising it won't be weird. Angus offers Spencer his bed, but Spencer decides to sleep in the biofarm instead. At the same time, Ava feels disappointed because the water tank isn't pressurized enough to work properly. While lying in bed, Sharon looks at a photo of herself and a man, wishing he was there to talk to her. Shortly after, Eva urgently calls for a meeting, telling everyone that her team got the water reclamation system working at 62% efficiency, but they had to take water from other places, like the coolant system, leaving only enough drinking water for 2 days. Sharon does some quick math and figures they have 4 days worth of water left. Spencer brings up his worry about the knife possibly causing damage to the pipe, surprising Felix, since he hadn't mentioned where they found the murder weapon. Suddenly, they hear the engine stop, and Ava admits they turned off the engine coolant to have a bit more drinking water, even if it means they're stuck floating in space for a while. And that wraps up episode 2. Thanks for tuning into this recap. Be sure to stay tuned for the next episodes, and don't forget to share this video with your friends who love sci-fi adventures. See you all soon.